A referee nutmegging the player, the most embarrassing own goal ever, and this Arsenal player making a complete fool of himself on camera during this challenge. Here are 30 of the most embarrassing moments in football. But first, this scene. Are you ready for the most embarrassing Panenka?
Can he deliver? No, he can't.
That hurts to watch.
And who will save again?
Even more embarrassing was this scene here. The 19-year-old goalkeeper Radu Mitu made his professional debut in the league in Moldova. In the end, his team lost the game and Mitu burst into tears. But hey, he still became the club's #1 goalkeeper afterwards. But now to a really absurd scene where the player was arrested on the pitch by the police. In a game in Wales, Jordan Evans scored a goal and gave an assist. But in the 85th minute, the police came onto the pitch and arrested him and then took him away in handcuffs. The reason? Allegedly, he had stolen something. But the charges were later dropped and only a few hours after his arrest, he was free again. A goal, an assist and an arrest, that only happens in Wales. But now to a scene where this DAZN reporter really embarrassed himself.
Dann haben wir noch ein schönes Bild zum Schluss von Ihnen eingefangen. Sie hatten heute Besuch, ist das richtig?
Ja, genau.
Oma und Opa? Nee?
Nee, das sind tatsächlich meine Eltern.
Ah! Oh Gott. Was für ein Fettnäpfchen von mir. Gut,
Yeah, the reporter is still trying to talk his way out of it somehow, but no chance. My favorite part is a look by Havertz at the end. And we have even more embarrassing moments, for example from Arsenal player Kai Havertz, who was supposed to show his skills here in a challenge, failed miserably and became the worst player ever to take part in the challenge. But first, to this really laughable scene from a coach. He wanted to waste time and pretended he'd been hit on the head. But everyone knew this is just acting. And suddenly he's standing again, looking surprised, and then the red card from the referee. What a circus. Our number 25, one of the most incredible and embarrassing moves by an entire team. I present to you Veria from the Greek league. They failed miserable 5 times. Oh man. And it was also embarrassing at Schalke. But it wasn't the team that embarrassed themselves. It was the stadium management. They introduced the team on the video cube before the game, as well as the coaching staff. Only they showed the wrong head coach of Schalke. They showed Jakob Wimpel, but the club had just fired him. The current coach was Kees van Wonderen. Embarrassing Schalke. Khéphren Thuram was also ridiculed. The son of France's former superstar Lilian Thuram plays at Juventus since 2024. And look what underwear he's playing in ducky pants. How cute. But now, an embarrassing moment from a goalkeeper world star. Courtois is normally very hard to beat in goal, but look what he did here.
Back to the goalkeeper by Carvajal. Oh, he's made the best! Oh, it's a terrible!
Liverpool was happy for a brief moment because then Madrid scored 5 goals and they moved on in the Champions League. Hey, football players, these are young guys. You'd think they know their way around technology. I mean, a lot of them do nothing but play PlayStation all day. But watch Nkunku here during his time at Leipzig. Yes, Nkunku. That's how you hold your mobile phone for a selfie. Almost reminds me of this player. Yeah, England player Maddison was struggling to drink. The cameras are everywhere, James. We don't miss a thing. Off to Germany, because in 2023, Duca player Mavropanos set an unfortunate record. Never before has there been an own goal from a greater distance in the German Cup.
Ball back from Mavropanos! Oh my word! What on earth?
But you have to say, what is goalkeeper Florian Müller doing there? The goalkeeper normally is supposed to stand between the posts. In the end, a happy ending for the two. Stuttgart won 2-1. For our number 18, we are heading to the Super Cup final in Japan. Vissel Kobe and Yokohama played against each other there. And hey, missing a penalty, that sucks, but can happen. But here, there were 9 missed penalties in a row. Unbelievable. And just as a reminder, these were all professionals. And one of the superstars at United 10 years ago Wayne Rooney, an incredible striker. Here, however, he didn't stain himself with glory with this corner for England's national team. But hey, still not as bad as this performance from Havertz that is yet to come. And also, Takuya Wada delivered a highly questionable cross here. His teammate shows, hey, I'm free. Wada tries to play the ball and it ends up in his own goal. Whew, embarrassing. Real's ex-defender Marcelo was also embarrassed because his 9-year-old son showed him who's boss. Through the legs. What a trick, which was then celebrated by Marcelo. The referee did the same here against Sanchez, but he didn't like that so much. Better than many professional players, I would say. Now to a scene in the Swedish league. I think the goalkeeper wanted to vanish into the ground afterwards. Hammarby keeper Oliver Dovin thinks the penalty spot is the ball, and when he realizes his mistake, it was too late. And hey, his career wasn't so bad afterwards. Today he plays for Coventry in the 2nd English League. But if you think that was embarrassing, then take a look at this scene, the saddest shot in football history. John O'Shea clears the ball for a throw-in. But one of the most famous and embarrassing misses was this one at the 1990 World Cup in the US. Every World Cup has a big opening ceremony, and this one was no exception. Singer Diana Ross performed and was supposed to shoot a penalty into the goal during her performance, but she missed from 5 meters away. At least she didn't care. Quite the opposite of this moment.
Almost every game for Newcastle since. Now Jones, oh dear me, that's just the icing on it for Newcastle.
Yes, Phil Jones with a wonderful header into his own goal. But probably the most incredible own goal was this one in the Croatian league. And you might say now, it was a great shot, but this was the goalie's teammate who just hammered the ball into the goal. Why he's shooting the ball like that? I have no idea. Our number 8. In 2006, Portsmouth played in the Premier League against relegation and won who they were counting on to stay in the league, striker Lua Lua. And when he scored, he usually celebrated with a flip. But the club asked him to not do that until they were no longer in danger of relegation. But then in the game against Arsenal, a goal and the somersault, but it came as it had to come. He injured himself and had to get out, and now he looked really stupid. Our number 7, and what can I say? Many football players were ashamed of this afterwards because some of them wanted to start a music career. And this is what England superstar Ian Wright thought about his career.
I wonder why Ian never did more music. He's got a great singing voice. No, this is a nightmare for me just to look at my stupid face. And then I disliked the song as much as it went to number 41. It went to 41 in the charts. But like, it's one of those when I look at the video, it makes me feel like, why did you do that? But it's done.
And if you want me to keep making videos and not start a music career out of desperation, then subscribe. It's free and you're really helping us a lot. Now on to the Women's Champions League, to one of the most embarrassing moments I've ever seen. 3 players from Gintra run towards the empty goal of Barcelona and then run into each other so that Barcelona can kick the ball away. How can something like this happen? I mean, that should have been a clear goal. We've almost arrived at the Kai Havertz embarrassing moment, but first to a former player from Germany, because what he did was incredible. Jens Lehmann. After his time at Arsenal, he went to Stuttgart, but he would probably like to erase this one match day in 2009 from his memory. Firstly, he conceded a penalty and was sent off with a straight red. Then he stole the glasses of a fan. And then he took a taxi to the airport instead of traveling back with the team in the team bus, and then this at the airport.
Ja, gerne. Wofür kann ich Ihnen die leihen? Wann geben Sie mir diese zurück? Ja, aber ich würde sie auch gerne wieder zurückbekommen.
asking the reporter for money and then not wanting to pay back. Embarrassing for someone who earned thousands of euros in just one day. Our number 4. A fall live on television. The chairman of the Australian Football Association fell off the stage and fortunately got up again straight away.
Thankfully he's okay.
Our number 3. A really stupid and embarrassing excuse from a footballer. Brazilian Somalia was a professional at Botafogo and celebrated his last day of holiday in January 2011 with a big party. But he overslept and missed the opening training session. The club was strict and would have punished him for being late by cutting his salary, and he wanted to avoid that. So this was his idea. He faked his own kidnapping. In order for his story to be taken seriously, he reported the incident to the police. Unfortunately, he forgot about the CCTV cameras outside his house, and that's where the police saw Somalia came home at 4 a.m. and strolled out of the house at around 9 a.m. And they realized he had made up the story. And then, of course, there was a lot of trouble for him for this false statement. But now, finally, our number 2, Kai Havertz. Summer 2023, and Arsenal with a huge transfer. For 75 million, they signed Kai Havertz from Chelsea FC. In preparation, Arsenal first traveled to the US, where they took part in the MLS All-Star Skills Challenge, which consists of various competitions where the players prove their skills. First here, where Havertz had to control the ball and hit one of the holes.
These are double, remember, that will do it. 20 points for Havertz. And make it 2-0 Arsenal over the MLS All-Star.
Yeah, it did not go so well, but it got really embarrassing with the volley challenge.
Nobody's ever been shut out, Jake.
Hey, off the post, and your boy, Berkey.
My boy, absolutely. I'll own this all day, all night.
The first clean sheet.
Havertz didn't manage to score a single goal. This has never ever happened to a player before. That's why he was mocked on social media.
Havertz did his best to keep a clean sheet. He did that.
But our number 1, the miss of the century in the 6th English League. How can you miss that? Rocky Baptiste with a really embarrassing mistake. The crazy thing, just shortly after in the same game, he did this. And if you want to see how Pep Guardiola went from being a brilliant midfielder to one of the best coaches in the world, then watch this video.